told very interesting stories about civic leaders. I get told them from civic leaders themselves and from civic officers. And do you know what? They normally end up with the phrase, I should write a book about that. And yes, you should write a book about that. So today I thought we'd get an expert to help you out with writing your book. I'm being joined today by Richard Hagan from Immersive Publishing. So say hello to the people, Richard.
Hello everyone, it's fantastic to be with you. Duncan, thanks for this opportunity, and I hope that I can provide some interesting and very useful information today for your followers and for your team.
Fantastic, thank you, Richard. So I think the first thing that you have to do when you set out to write a book is you've got to work out who you're writing it for. Is that a good way to start?
Yes, well, the purpose is more than just who you're writing for. The purpose is what your message is and who the message is for. So I think sometimes most people don't actually think about what the purpose of the book is at all, on either of those bases. They'll just kind of splurge out. But actually it is about purpose first, and there are two dimensions: what the message is and who it's for.
Fantastic. It's funny, I was just writing an article about speech purpose and saying that that's the thing that often gets neglected, isn't it? Yeah. And just sort of like, I've got to make a speech, I'll do some talking. I've got to write a book, here are some words. So really concentrate on the message and who you're writing it for.
Yeah.
That's good advice. So when you've worked out what your purpose is, what sort of tips do you have for writing the book? Because it seems quite daunting, you know, some books are very long. What sort of, how do you get into the writing aspect of it?
It begins with a strategy. So I would really suggest people don't sit down first of all and kind of get all their ideas down, because that really puts you in a position of overwhelm. All the information, all the stories they've got, then where do you go from that? You want a way of navigating it. So I would spend a fair bit of time before you start to write the book in getting real clarity of what the message is, who it's for, and then what journey you need to take that reader on to deliver great value for them. Most people who write a book will create lots of lists, lots of bullet points, lots of templates kind of things, and it's all about the information they know or their experiences. Now, if you want to write a book for yourself, then fine, just write that all up. But if you're writing a book for somebody else, make sure that the information comes at the end of your planning process, that you've got a lot of clarity around what the core message is, who you're speaking to, what their pain and pleasure points are, or what the benefit of your book will be to them, and then design their journey. And only then get down all your ideas, all your insights, all your anecdotes, and then reshape that to fit the reader's journey.
Oh, fantastic. So actually, even though if you're writing a book about your time in office, it would be non-fiction, you should probably kind of concentrate on the story that you're telling more, and the journey that the reader goes on.
A great book takes a reader on a journey, and it takes them not just on a journey from, you know, your first day in office to your last day in office. It takes the reader on a journey of transformation. The stories you tell, the information you share, somehow changes them, influences them, has an effect on them in the future. That is the heart of a great book. Most people think it's the information that you give, but it's the story that you shape for the reader. And that's not even just your stories or your experience, it's the way you shape your story, your insight, your experience, so that somehow becomes one with the reader's story and the reader's journey. That's where you get a fantastic book.
Well, that's very interesting, because I suppose if you do it right, your book can actually be an extension of what you're trying to achieve in office. It can be a way that you can continue to have an impact on your community and continue to shape the way people in your community think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I see books very much as a physical way of leaving a legacy, of shaping your legacy for the future. I mean, print books are going to be at the British Library for hundreds, if not thousands of years, depending on what happens. But the ideas and the message in that are there now permanently. And if you can continue to influence people, then you're leveraging your experience in office for many, many more years to come, and touching lots of people that you might never ever actually meet.
Fantastic. So you mentioned physical books there. What sort of advice would you give people to go from this point? So you've written your manuscript. How do you get it out there into the world? How do you turn it into a physical, or indeed an electronic book?
Okay, so there are what lots of people think are quick win solutions. So Amazon itself has a self-publishing platform. You can find out lots about that from Amazon itself. You can go to places like Blurb or Lulu.com, who literally will take your Word document and kind of, press a few buttons and you can get printed books delivered to you. And I think they even have options to get it on Amazon and things as well. That would be what I would call as kind of really the basic level of self-publishing. And in that process, no one is really taking care of your book. No one's editing it. No one's checking it makes sense, that it does what you think that you want it to do, that it's going to deliver a great experience for the reader. And so that it's easy to do, but the consequences if you don't do it well are quite serious for your reputation. And if you're wanting to create a legacy, you really need to make sure it's top quality to get the best results from that self-publishing process. So that would be self-publishing.
And of course, if you do want the best results, you need to employ some sort of professionals to help you with the layout, the cover design, the editing, proofreading, that sort of thing. Yeah,
that's where you would move into a partnership process with what you might call a hybrid publisher these days, and we would kind of fit into that space ourselves for many projects. And that's where someone works with you. They can do it during the development of your book, so that would be what some people call book coaching or book development. But then if you've actually got your manuscript done and you say, well, actually I'm quite happy with the general shape of this, then you could take it to a partner publisher and they would do a full editorial work on it, not just getting rid of spelling or typo mistakes, but really helping you structure it for the best effect for the reader, then proofreading it, laying it out in the book, getting a nice cover done, making sure that the kind of back cover message really sells the book as well. And then obviously, if it is the best book on civic office in Great Britain in the last 100 years, then you might want to go to a traditional publisher and seek a publishing deal with them. So there are lots of options in the space, and from having somebody work with you literally word by word from day one to a quite light touch. We'll take your manuscript, we'll polish it, and we'll make that available in both ebooks and print book version for you. So you really need to do a bit of research on that, and I'm very happy to chat to anyone about any of that and point them to particular resources if they want to do that.
Fantastic. So actually, on that note, if you could just tell people how they can find out more about you.
Right, so my name's Richard Hagan. You can find me on LinkedIn, Richard Hagan from Immersive Publishing, and our core publishing company is Empower Publishing. And being a great publisher, we spell our name incorrectly. We don't have any E's in that. So that's MPOWR publishing.com, and Immersive Publishing is immersive.pub, and you can make contact with me through there or via LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll put all the links down there for people. Right, thank you very much, Richard. That's been really interesting. I think you've given people a lot to think about. So go away, sharpen those pencils and see what you come up with. Thanks very much, Richard. My name's Duncan Basgram Brown. I'm the Civic Coach. Thank you very much.